if I have like a phone interview as a first step, I take notes in that interview and I either transcribe those notes into the computer or I start a hard copy folder with those notes and anything. And I usually print out that column document that I showed you, and I use it as prep when I'm going through and I'm actually rehearsing what I'm going to say. And I think about like, I think about questions they may ask, like I was talking with a woman the other day who asked me, she works in international student services. And so I thought, well, what are some of the questions they're going to ask me? And I thought, well, number one is what challenges do these students face? So I went in and I pulled some articles offline and I created a summary document. And then I thought of like all the challenges that they face and then what services can we offer? And then I thought about the stories, some of the stories and some of the experiences that I've had when I've worked with international students or graduate students. And I wove those together in the interview. But I think, and I can't say this enough, that rehearsing all this is just crucial. It's so crucial to rehearse it because that way when you go in, you're more confident, or at least you can say I'm more confident.
Right.
So, questions?
Yeah, this is now that you kind of ventured outside the box a little bit, which is good, Lisa. How do you prepare differently for a virtual interview versus an in-person interview? And if you do, what does that look like?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because like since COVID, I think we've all had more virtual interviews. And in some ways they're easier, because like you can put like stickers up of different pieces of information just to make sure that you mention them and you have them on the tip of your head, or your tongue. But when you're face to face, you have to know it all, and there are no notes. You can't, and we're getting back to that. So we're gradually kind of going back to the way things were. I study a lot more. I rehearse a lot more if I know that I'm going to have a face-to-face interview, because I know I'm going to have to recall everything by heart, versus if I have a virtual interview, I study just as hard and I rehearse. But I can have the benefit of having a sticky pad that lists partnerships with that company, and I can just read it and get it off, versus if I'm face to face, I have to remember those.